everybody, this is Rustin with Metalholic and the Idaho music scene. With us today, his name is Cam Pipes, and he is the righteous brother of metal from 3 Inches of Blood. How are you doing?
Doing just fine, thanks.
You guys are currently out with Goat Whore down in the heat of Miami tonight, I believe.
Yes, we are.
I tell you, I worry about traveling anywhere that cockroaches are so big they have to give them pretty names like palmetto bugs, and they have television shows dedicated to being overrun by snakes.
Yeah. I think that first and foremost, we worry about keeping ourselves from getting overheated, and then we worry about other things after that.
Well, first off, my apologies. I know you're a big hockey fan, so I have to say I'm sorry. My San Jose Sharks swept your Vancouver Canucks out of the playoffs. Please don't hold it against me.
Whatever. What can you do? I mean, just wasn't our year. You know, I hate to say it, but I had a bad feeling going into that series. Like, San Jose kind of had the Canucks number all season anyway, so it wasn't, my hopes were not up, so it wasn't really a huge surprise for me.
Yeah, I have to tell you, when I looked at all the possible scenarios of who my Sharks were going to play, it seemed like the one team that we had luck with all year was the Canucks. So I was a little bit delighted that we got them first. So we'll see if they choke in the next round. So
yeah, well, who knows?
Current events: we lost our brother Jeff Hanneman.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever get a chance to meet Jeff, play with him?
No, never did. I mean, we've done festivals that Slayer were on. Never got to actually meet them, any of them, in person. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Such a titan in the metal world is all of a sudden gone, and you know it's especially sad given that he had to step away from it due to his. I mean, it's still a mystery to a lot of people exactly like what happened to him. I mean, there's lots of rumors and hearsay, but for whatever reason, some kind of health ailment forced him to step away from Slayer, and then this happened. So it's really, really tragic, and regardless of how he went, and it's a loss all the same. And the loss is felt just as great, no matter how it happened.
Right, and then of course this week, Tim Lambesis of As I Lay Dying, the shocking arrest.
Yeah, it's a strange time for metal. I mean, for us personally, we just lost someone on our team that we had for years. Our booking agent who booked our shows in Canada for years and years. He just passed away yesterday. So all around, it's not really a happy time in a lot of ways. I mean, we're trying to move forward. We've still got a tour to do, and we're having fun playing these shows. But there's always this tragedy and these unfortunate events kind of happening all around us, all in a short span of time here.
Right. Of course, getting up on stage every night makes it all worth it and makes it feel so much better. So.
Yeah, like getting up there, and once you start playing, then everything else just kind of goes out the window, and you're focused on playing that show and not really thinking about anything else, and that helps when shitty things are happening to you.
Well, on the good things list, you guys released Long Live Heavy Metal just over a year ago, and at the time, you hailed it as your best yet. Of course, all bands feel that way when a new album comes out. Now, a year in the rear view, you've had time to live it and breathe it on the road. How do you feel about the record today?
Pretty much the same, and I think we've been validated by the response we've gotten from people, from written reviews to people coming up to us and telling us they feel it's our best record. So sentiment all around is pretty unanimous, I think. So we're happy about that, and we're going to try and ride that momentum as long as we can.
How much of the new record have you had a chance to sort of road test so far?
Well, a good chunk of it, I'd say. I mean, there's a few we haven't put in the live set yet, but that's not to say it won't happen. I don't know if it'll happen before we start writing for a new record, but at some point there's always songs we like to go back, even from a current record and with old records as well, stuff that we just haven't played in a while. We need to try and fit stuff in there and just stuff for the fans, get those deep cuts in there, just the things that you wouldn't expect.
You guys really ran the gamut on this one with anthemic tracks like Metal Woman and Leather Lord to emotive, even dare I say it, beautiful moments such as The Chief and the Blade.
Yeah, it's just kind of things we end up doing, I guess. You know, it's all part of just the creative process. Nothing's really planned that way. It just kind of happens.
Well, and this was the first album with Byron Stroud as the permanent bassist, and you've spent a lot of time on the road with him now, and you've known him for quite a while anyway. Have you found your man? Has it all been gelling well together now that you've had a chance to really spend a lot of time playing together?
Yeah, he's a solid dude, and we've enjoyed playing with him. So he's just kind of a guy who's been around, and we've been able to call on him every now and then, and even before he joined the band. So it's nice to have somebody in your hometown that has been around the block, with lots of other bands as well. So.
And what does he add to the mix in terms now of songwriting and creating new music? Because he comes from a different background, a different style of metal, if you will, from what you guys generally play. But
yeah, we haven't actually had a chance to write anything with him because he sort of came into it after the record was done. So yeah, we haven't even come to that point yet.
Well, in this economy, bands really have to stay on the road to sustain themselves. So are you guys able to write when you're on the road, or do you have to wait until you're off to sort of get in that creative mode?
No, that's not really something that's really been our style. We're constantly moving. Our time at the venue is spent getting in, setting up, and then just kind of relaxing until we got to play. And then once we're done playing, we unwind for a little bit, and then we're back in the van or off somewhere to get some rest. So we've never been the kind of band that writes on the road. Maybe if we were in a bus all the time and we had the luxury of not having to drive all the time, and we could just kind of sit without the responsibility and the space of just being able to kind of lounge around and have a guitar sitting there. That's not that easy when you're traveling in a van. So.
Right.
On the road, even the odd time we have done like the bus tour, it's you're still in close quarters, and that's kind of like your hangout place where you just kind of want to relax and not have to do anything work related, so to speak. We've always been the kind of people that write really well in batches. We'll set aside a period of time to just focus on writing songs, and we kind of make a plan to just sit down and go, all right, we're going to spend these, next several, weeks or a couple months or whatever, and just every day or 5 days a week write and write and write, and then go from there. So that's usually how we operate when it comes to songwriting.
But being a creative person, you can't always decide when that moment of inspiration is going to come. Where's sort of the strangest?
Exactly.
And where's sort of the strangest place you've ever been when a moment of inspiration has struck you?
Well, nowhere really odd in particular. I'll come up with song title ideas just every at any given time. Like something will just kind of happen. I'll hear a string of words and I'll be like, oh, that'll make a cool song title. So I'll just make a note of it. I could be anywhere, just riding in the van or whatever. It'll just kind of happen. But then the actual lyric process doesn't come until we're actually in the rehearsal space, and there's some kind of riffs floating around that that the guys have come up with, and then something will just kind of spark an actual song from there.
All right. Well, and if I understand correctly, for you, it always sort of starts with the title first anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at least for the past couple of records, I'll just kind of start with that, and the title doesn't necessarily immediately determine what the song is going to be about, but it's at least a starting point, and then that gives me some kind of inspiration later. And I could go several ways with a few words that just kind of sound neat. I leave myself open to possibilities in terms of what a song comes from.
Excellent. Now, you guys have 5 albums worth of material right now. Might we see a live album at some point?
Well, we're putting out a live record of sorts. We did a live in the studio session just a few months back that we're going to be putting out on with Century Media as a series of 7-inch EPs, just a couple songs on each. And the idea was just to get in there, kind of capture our live sound a little bit, in a little more of a controlled setting. But on a secondary part to that story is the studio we did it at was a legendary Vancouver studio called Mushroom, and lots of big recordings have happened there over the years. Many that mainstream folks will have heard of, but they were about to close down, so we wanted to get in there and have a chance to lay down some music in there, once again. We did on Fire of the Blades, we recorded a lot of the guitars there. We had a chance to get in there before, but we wanted to get back before it closed down and get something down and just document it as almost a little bit of a historical farewell, in a sense, to this legendary studio. But we'll put out a bunch of little EPs with that, and then we're going to release a complete collection with some of the extra stuff that won't be on the 7 inches.
Nice. Is there some sort of a time frame for that fans can look forward to it?
Pretty soon. Like they've sent the first couple to press, and you should be able to see them in the next probably the next couple months. They'll start coming out gradually. The first one will probably be out in a couple months, and then a few months after that, we'll get the next one, and then third one later on, and then the complete collection with the extra stuff, and then we'll throw in a bunch of bonus stuff on top of that as well. So, and that'll be like on a vinyl, and then there'll probably be a compact disc version of it as well. Maybe even some DVD stuff to go as another supplemental bonus. We did a video of it too. We had a guy come in and film us as we were recording it.
Sweet. So we can look forward to that. I'm getting ready to do an interview with John Gallagher of Raven on the 30th anniversary of their classic All for One. And with that in mind, because I know you sort of grew up on a lot of that stuff, you guys are considered the new wave of British heavy metal, if you will. I'm sure you probably hate that tag at this point, but with that in mind, can you give us your list of 5 essential NWOBHM albums that all fans should own?
Let's see. Well, gotta try and think of what years to kind of limit it to. Well, in no particular order. Boy, oh boy. Well, obviously the first Iron Maiden record is got to go in there, just for starters. The Saxon Strong Arm of the Law. This came a little bit later, but I think it still kind of fits because they did start around that time. But Stand Up and Fight by Court, that one was like, I think, 86, but that's kind of, I guess, maybe the tail end of the new wave of British heavy metal. It's a heyday anyway. A couple more. Oh, a little bit more obscure, but the self-titled album by White Spirit, which featured a young Yannick Gers, who's now with Iron Maiden.
Absolutely.
And let's say Phil Towns of Hades by Tank, just to round it out.
Nice. Excellent list.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get out of here, sort of bringing it full circle, any prognostications on who will take home Lord Stanley this year?
Well, first round's not done, but I'm already seeing some surprises. Just as from a regional standpoint, I'd like to see the West bring it home, although I wouldn't particularly cheer for anyone in the West that's left at this point anyway. But if I had to just go with my gut, I would say, I don't know, I still have to play Game 7, but I just have a funny feeling like Detroit somehow is at least going to go far. If they can get past Anaheim, then I can see them going to at least the conference finals, if not the finals. But I know the East has some surprises. Same with Pittsburgh. If they can somehow fight off the Islanders, then they'll probably go pretty far. But the last thing I want to see is another Pittsburgh-Detroit final, which happened twice in recent memory.
Be nice to get some fresh blood in there. Chicago's looking particularly strong this year.
Yeah,
So.
They are, and they're probably an easy choice as to who would get there for the West. Although I would, of who's left in the West right now, I'd probably rather see San Jose go to the finals more than anybody.
Yeah, it'd be nice for them to actually make it this time, to at least get to the finals. So they always choke in the second round.
What I would like to see right now, I'd like to see San Jose Ottawa finals, but then sadly, I'd have to pull for Ottawa in that case. And who I think is going to go, I'm going to say Chicago is going to make it in the West, and probably Pittsburgh in the East, and then it's kind of a crapshoot from there. As much as I hate to say it, I'd probably think Chicago's going to win it, even though that's one of the last teams I'd want to see win the Stanley Cup.
Let's
Love
play.
that city, but I don't like that team. Like, Chicago's a great town, but I don't like the Blackhawks. So I'm going to say Chicago now that I've really analyzed and deduced all my thoughts and predictions here. So
next to music, sports is your thing, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm at home, I don't think about music a whole lot. I hang out with my wife, and our pets. I watch hockey, and I play Dungeons and Dragons once a week, so that's kind of what I do.
Nice. Well, since you guys are out on the tour, our pointless question of the week for you guys will be the Oscar and Felix question. Which member of the band is the neat freak? Which member of the band is the slob?
No. I think we're all kind of both in a lot of ways. I consider myself a neat freak, but, I've got my slobby tendencies. I mean, we're all slobs, but I'd say either me or Ash are probably the neat freaks.
all slammed together in a van out on the tour. It's
I mean, it's just inevitable. That's just kind of the way things are. You're traveling in a van, and there's just a lot of stuff. You accumulate things, and you're eating shitty food, and so garbage just kind of gets everywhere. But you just got to do your best to kind of just throw the garbage out every time you gas up. Open the windows when someone rips a really gross fart. So.
Cam Pipes of 3 Inches of Blood out on tour right now with Goat Whore, getting ready to do some headline dates coming up here shortly. You'll be here in my neck of the woods, Boise, later this month, so I look forward to seeing you then. The new album, a year old now, but still new to us, Long Live Heavy Metal. Thanks so much for taking the time. We look forward to seeing you when you come to town, and we look forward to that quasi-live stuff that's going to be coming shortly.
Right on. Thank you very much for having me.